What do you think the future of Blizzard holds at this point with the current people in charge and with Xbox and now this, this big exodus of the founders and the big names and a lot of talent, unfortunately, this year?
Yeah, man, if you had asked me this a year ago, my answer would be totally different than it is now, because a year ago, like literally a year ago at this time, October of 2023, they were closing the deal, and then shortly after Microsoft closed the $69 billion deal to buy Activision Blizzard, Phil Spencer was flying around, and he came to Blizzard's campus, and people were lining up to say hi to him and take selfies with him, and he was playing their games. I have the story in the book where he came in and people had prepared like these PowerPoint presentations to show to him, and he was like, "No, I want to see the games. I want to play the games." And they were like, "Fantastic!" And he seemed like this benevolent leader who was coming in to save them from Bobby Kotick and his regime. And then 3 months after that, Phil Spencer sent out an email that sounded like a Bobby Kotick email, sounded like any corporate executive email saying, because of market realities, we have to reshift to alignment, blah, 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 and essentially cut the jobs of 1,900 people, including many at Blizzard. And it was just devastating for people. And then since my book was finished, there's been another big layoff. And so it feels like they're kind of this savior in Microsoft has turned out to just be another friggin' unstable corporate parent. And now we're at this point in Xbox's history where nobody knows what they're doing. They're at a point of real crisis. And we've reported at Bloomberg, and a lot of people have kind of seen the obvious, which is that ironically, as a result of making this purchase of Activision Blizzard, Xbox is feeling a lot more pressure from its corporate parents at Microsoft, and therefore it is having to show more profits and cut costs and do all the things you do when you're feeling pressure from your corporate parents and your C-suite executives. So nobody really knows what Xbox's plan for the next few years is. I think even at the top of Xbox, they don't know exactly what they're going to do for the next couple of years. And where Blizzard fits into that, I don't know.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another Xvault Gaming video. Xvault here, and today, yes, we got that sweet salt for you. Of course, your second dose of the salty batch files coming right here. So we got some stuff to go over, some good stuff as well, obviously. And you know what? Without further ado, let's go ahead and jump to it. All right, so like I was saying, what we're going to do is go over the Great Salt here. We do have a few posts for examples, right? But we also have some good video examples, and I love to see those because we have those in real-time reaction kind of things, and the delusion speaks volumes when they're just coming out of their vocal cords themselves, right? So let's start with the first one here. I have a feeling that this gentleman is going to be making the rounds pretty often in regards to this channel here. We have JP Tells You Now. He's here to tell us, folks, with all the rumors and the new engine for Halo and stuff like that. Like you can see, Halo is not coming to PlayStation, and he posts the original Halo box art only on Xbox, all that stuff. And then, of course, the real LA down there, I hope it's not, because, I can't knock somebody for hoping it's not. That's your flagship IP, like we've gone over multiple times on the channel, right? It's the tripod of Halo, Gears, Forza. That's the triangle. That is the Hyrule Triforce, if you will, for the Xbox side of things, those three games, right? So we have those there, but he's very adamant that it's not coming, and I think Microsoft is a business first, especially as of late, and if they're not churning in the money they want on the gaming division brand, there's only so much they're going to do or put up with before they go ahead and stop wanting to make that money. So just keep in mind, by the way, Tom Warren's pretty adamant about this possibly coming, but as you can see here as well, just a reminder, I reported on some future Halo stuff in my Notepad newsletter in June, posted on The Verge and all that, and states under there, of course, one game that is being considered for release on PS5 is Halo, though. Sources tell me Microsoft is working on some form of Halo Combat Evolved remaster that is also being considered for rival consoles. I don't expect Microsoft to announce this during the showcase, as it's early days for this remaster. And as we can tell in the official kind of trailer tease release kind of deal with the new Unreal Engine 5, this is leaning more and more to be true, but again, that was a while ago, but we do have JP, as we had seen. Then this was posted very recently, as in the 8th of October, which means just a few days ago at the time of this recording, right? So Again, I understand you don't want your flagship IP going to competing brands, essentially, much like I would, as a Sony fan, and you invest in that ecosystem, and that's what bolsters it, is the games, especially the exclusive content in that ecosystem is a huge deal. We can admit, Sony fans, we can admit, right? If we had Uncharted or God of War or something like that, Last of Us, that ended up on competing platforms, especially the Xbox, we'd probably want to keep that in the ecosystem because that builds that value. So I get where the real LA is coming from, but for someone like JP just spreading that delusion, the new delusional face, so to speak, is making the rounds, right? And giving that false hope and hype that we've gone over so many times on this channel. But you know what? We have some video examples to get to in just a moment here, but the first one I want to kind of go over here I think is great before we get to the videos. Now, I don't think it's great that Xbox is pulling from certain countries, or so-called, at this time of recording, rumored to do so. So, Abdallah, breaking news. Hello, I'm speaking on behalf of a lot of Xbox consumers in the MENA, I don't know if that is MENA or however that's pronounced, region, and especially in Saudi Arabia, after shops have confirmed to us that they will stop selling Xbox Series consoles because you told them so. How is a company such as Microsoft, with all the global influence and leverage, fail so miserably in maintaining a proper communication with the fans here and just abruptly cut everything? It is like you are asking us to go and find alternative, and trust me, there are better alternatives with better support localization here in the MENA region in the NA. And of course he tags Aaron Greenberg, Jez Corden, Clobril, Phil Spencer himself, just a lot of folks that might have some influence, so to speak, over this, right? But I do want to highlight again Jez Corden being called out here, being tagged, because the best part about this is because this guy's putting on his super suit, or he's putting on his bulletproof vest, or whatever you want to call it. And as you can see here, give me a couple hours traveling at the moment.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
He's got to boot up, folks. He's going to get ready. He's going to go to war and make some changes there for those in Saudi and everywhere else that this supposedly will be pulled from in regards to the Xbox consoles. Yeah, I just find it kind of comical. Like, Jez is somewhat of a blogger. He's a blogger. He has somewhat of inside sources. He's met and rubbed elbows with the Xbox brass, if you will. Stuff like that. But as far as him having influence enough to change anything, he's a blogger. He's admitted it himself. But, he does get the word out there, so there's that. But I just find it kind of comical. It's like tagging all of them and Jez Corden.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
And Jez Corden. Of course, they had Clobril in there and stuff as well. I don't think Clobril does much. I mean, he has a good following, right? But it's just, Xbox, the moral of this story, the moral of this post, right, is Xbox has been heading in a direction for quite some time. And a lot of us, and I know I have to reiterate this almost every video, it seems, but everybody with a working brain cell or two has stated, you guys, buy your games. Stop supporting Game Pass so much, because it's not right now the future, nor do I ever see it being the future anytime soon in the next few years. And they are looking for a return. You're cheering on acquisitions, they're getting ZeniMax, they're getting ABK, you're cheering those on and not understanding the repercussions. And a lot of us has told you, look, they're not going to just keep flowing the money out. This isn't a free S joint, or S club, if you will, where they're just going to hand out free money to you. Just because they make a lot of money in other divisions doesn't mean they want to sit there and pull from those divisions to keep another division that's not making those returns afloat. Do we understand how that works?
Oh, here we go again.
I mean, do we understand? It should be fairly simple, but now we're seeing the repercussions of that, right? But that being said, let's first start off, and again, I feel like this has to be the Colt Eastwood show. I don't know if there's too many episodes that we don't have Colt in here anymore, because he just doesn't stop. Now, real quick, let's pull up the first video here. I'm gonna go over this in just a minute, but take a look.
They'll probably put this Combat Evolved remake on PlayStation, I think.
And man, Colt, a lot of the chat. They're going after you in those freaking podcasts, man.
What other podcasts?
I've given up trying to
For
like.
what?
I've given
For
up
what?
trying to like.
For what?
The
Why
mag
is he?
thing.
What, is he too a pony?
Let's talk about it.
Is he too much of a
Listen,
pony
because
bot?
if people
I
have a
don't think it's
problem that
specific
I'm
to
not running
Cole.
an echo chamber, then I don't want to have that conversation with them.
What,
Because
Yeah,
I
it's-
brought
it's-
Mag on because he plays on
And you
Xbox.
are
We
a
also
lot more, I guess console enthusiastic. I don't know how to really put it, right? Because they really delve more into that.
I get it.
direction.
I gave Mag
Yeah.
crap for being extra in front of all those
Yeah.
plays. Like he was with the most diehard PlayStation knobheads. And I said, you went extra with those guys. You fell into the whole rhythm. And,
Yeah, exactly
it's like you fell for it, right? And because normally people said, look what Mag said. Look what Mag said. I'm like, he says that on my podcast. He's allowed to not like Xbox continually to fail to deliver games consistently.
Yeah.
These people who feel like they have to make a flip or they have to make a switch are immature fanboys. And I've been one for many years, and I've made many mistakes over these years. And these people that feel like they have to change the color of the shirt they're wearing, they have to change which deity they pray to every day.
You're probably gonna see me on podcasts where they make fun of both of you, and they make fun of a lot of other of my friends, and I'm like, and I don't even know what to do anymore. I'm like,
Hargy does
especially
not feel
Tim. Like, oh
Hargy,
my god,
you
I don't
feel
even know what to
drama.
say with Tim. I'm like,
Tim's not on the podcast.
I'll tell you another thing, and I'm not going to bring this up anymore about Mag, but it's just like Fonz. Mag just bought a PS5 Pro and a brand new killer monitor. He wants to play games the best they can play.
Yeah.
He's got a brand new console that is going to play every multiplat better than the one Series X, and he's got a killer monitor that he can't wait to plug into that thing. If he says he wants to play Indiana Jones on that thing, how can you make fun of him for that?
All right, so as you can see, I do want to break this down just a little bit. Hargeet, of course, they're talking about you, Colt, and Mag, and whatever, all this stuff. It's like, dude, first of all, that aside, which is true, a lot of folks make fun of them, and that's what we're doing here is pulling up the BS, right? Self-awareness as well, Hargeet. A lot of people make fun of you as well with your delusional takes, so I didn't understand if you were really calling yourself out or mentioning that to yourself, but ultimately, you as well. That being said, also the other breakaway point for this is the fact that Colt kind of wants to take a W here. He kind of speaks some sense into there. He's been a fanboy. He's made plenty of mistakes in the past. And, changing brands, you shouldn't have to wear this or that color shirt and whatever the case is, right? I agree with some of that, some of it. And again, he has a moment of self-awareness. But folks, just take a look at this post real quick. Colt Eastwood. This was on October 7th. This is just a few days ago at the time of the recording, right? They are starving for a first-person shooter over there on Sad Dad Station, obviously referring to The Last of Us series at this point. PlayStation buried Killzone and Resistance alive in Gen 7. Now, I don't disagree with the PlayStation burying Killzone and Resistance. I really wish they'd pull their head out and do something with those IPs. I don't know the statistics on what they were looking for as far as a financial return and why we're not seeing those IPs coming back. We'll just kind of have to wait and see a little bit. Word of mouth goes a long way. We do need to get those IPs back, by the way. That part I agree with. But do you see where we're coming from? So he does something in the video, and he acts like, yes, I made mistakes in the past, guys. As a matter of fact, just a couple days ago, I tweeted this, right? You're not talking about a couple days ago. He's talking about months ago, a couple years ago, stuff like that. He has zero self-awareness. So how can you take somebody like that, Colt? And I hope you do see this video or someone clips this part of the video, because I am speaking directly to you. How does anybody take you seriously whatsoever when you talk out one side of your ass and exit another side of your ass? I don't want to be super crude in regards to that, but it's just really infuriating, and I'm not even an Xbox fanboy. If I was even an Xbox big fan, which I want to be an Xbox fan, I'm throwing it out there. Most of us had a 360. Most of us also wanted an additional Xbox One or a One X and all that stuff, but they continually dropped the ball that gen, right? There's nothing wrong with having multiple platforms, but the fact of the matter is, you just continue to lie and you gloss over things. Oh, in the past, just a couple days ago you're console warring. Just a couple days ago you're saying nonsense. You're not consistent and you're consistently lying. That's the only consistency that you have going on for you. Do we see the disconnect here? Do we see the disconnect? But I digress. Let's move on from that because I can get on a soapbox forever with Colt. We already know the same old song and dance. But that definitely wanted to be shown there because we have a recent video, obviously, and also a recent post where he just cannot help himself. So, that being said, let's continue on to the next video here. Good old Boomstick, man. He's wanting to take that Colt Eastwood crown, but here we go.
And all of those games that these PlayStation players are going to buy, they're going to buy them at $70. And that's great for Microsoft. I mean, I'm not seeing any money from it. And I understand. And I did say this as being slanderous. Every game that a PlayStation gamer buys that's owned by Microsoft is more for the next acquisition, which is probably going to be Take-Two in 2026. Like that's happening.
That's what we're hoping.
I really think it is going to happen at some point because it just makes sense.
All right. And just like so, he sits there and just talks out his ass as well, right? He's sitting there, oh, by the way, you know what they're going to do, and I know it. Once they get that return, I know it. They're going to acquire Take-Two, guys. And if you're unfamiliar with Take-Two, they have a lot of games under their umbrella in regards to big hits, right? We're talking about Red Dead series, talking about the GTA series, amongst other IPs as well, of course, but those are the main ones. These guys are very expensive to acquire if that was going to be the case. So you're telling me, even if that was the goal, let's live in Delulu land for a second, Boom, and let's say that they are going to acquire that. Who in their right mind is going to sit there and be like, yeah, you guys can buy it? Let me tell you the only way they're going to buy that. But first of all, if they're not bowing out of the hardware system, if they are truly going to, or even if they have their hardware, if they commit and say all our first-party games that we own go to all multi-platform consoles, competing consoles, everywhere under the sun, that would be their only case. But if not, you're telling me that FTC and others are going to approve after getting ZeniMax and ABK and stuff like that when ABK was historic, and they can't even manage ABK or ZeniMax appropriately right now, but you want them to get Take-Two because that's going to certainly help them out. That's going to help them out. What's it matter at this point? I mean, gee whiz. And it just, and then these Sony fanboys wanting to buy these games for $70. I'm sorry that we're okay with spending money on good quality games. I'm not saying go out there and spend $70 on a Paw Patrol game or Bluey or something like that, which they don't run $70, right? But if they did, no, we're talking about spending $70 on quality games. I mean, there's nothing wrong with supporting Resident Evil 4 Remaster, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, and, you know, everything that is a first party, I'm okay with supporting because the Sony quality has been there. There's nothing wrong with supporting the devs and showing the finances that you're willing to support that IP and those types of games and you want more of them. Why are they consistently trying to shame people for buying games and as opposed to renting games and paying less? And we've seen how it's working out for Xbox, but it's okay. Us as gaming fans, I'm saying gaming fans, not even just PlayStation, whether you're Switch or Xbox, that's basically shaming people for buying games instead of just renting them. That's ludicrous. That's insanity. You need to support it. If this is one of your main hobbies, if you're casual, you probably don't care. You're like, whatever. But for those of you that do want gaming to flourish, do want it to get better, want it to succeed, want it to continue to deliver quality as well, I suggest we buy those games. I will stand on top of the mountain and shout forever. That needs to happen. The ludicrous, asinine audacity that these morons have, and they spout it out because they have quadruple the followers or more than I do, or subs, their mouth is getting out there more and creating that delusion. That's the problem. But hey, again, ultimately that's going to hurt Xbox as a brand, so keep spouting your nonsense just for that almighty grifting dollar and see where that lands you in the long run. But we're not done there. We're just going to leave with one more Boomstick video right now. Take a look.
They're further support of this game is all being based on how Shattered Space is going to sell. Now, this is where I find it odd. And chat, please, push back if you feel like I'm being facetious here. Who could raise their hand in the classroom, ladies and gentlemen, that remembers a publication that actually said, hey, look at the sales of this DLC? Because I don't ever recall that. Like, I've never, ever seen a DLC for a game more scrutinized than anything that Xbox does. Like, I've never seen, like, for instance, the DLC that came out for God of War, and it was free, was championed as the greatest thing since sliced bread. A roguelike game. Wow, we get to die and try this again with new powers. And because it was free, it was championed.
And folks, I'm going to let that video speak for itself. I don't have too much to say about Boomstick. It's the same old song and dance as well, like I was mentioned before with Colt. Again, keep saying the nonsense there. Keep that delusion real, whatever you want to say. It's just going to do more harm than good, but I thought that was another good delusional one just to kind of throw out there. It's just good old Boom. You can't help yourself, but here we are at your expense. So thank you for the content. I appreciate that. But that being said, I appreciate everybody hanging around in this video. I didn't want to make it too long, right? But of course, at this point in time, we had a big old boom in subs. So thank you all so much. If you are new to the channel, thank you for your support. Those that have been with me from day one or in the middle or whatever the case, thank you all the way across the board. I truly appreciate that. We are clearly on our way to that 2,500 sub goal. At the time of recording, we're basically like 200 subs away. So that is fantastic. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That being said, to help out the videos like this, especially this one, be sure to like. I want to hear those comments as well. Love to hear from you all in the community, of course. If you haven't already, definitely consider subscribing. All three of those things, of course, do help out the algorithm as well on YouTube and does help me out, and we get to see more and all that good stuff. So thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day, everybody, and just remember, don't be a salty batch. And we'll see y'all next time on the next Xvault gaming video. And until then, take care.